thank you all for being on the call. And it's very, very awesome to be able to bring all these live updates. And if you get a chance to tune into these classes, make sure. And if you can't catch them live, they do all play in replay. So make sure that's great information.
Hey,
Kris,
what are you drinking?
Today I'm drinking a Coppola Cabernet.
Coppola Cabernet. Hey,
It's
everybody.
Cab.
This is Kris. I'm drinking. What am I drinking at? Kim has poured me a Sauvignon Blanc from Nobilo. The bomb drink. I love it. Absolutely love it. And Kristine Scott, thank you so much for joining us today. We are so happy and pleased that you were able to fit us into your very busy schedule from what I'm looking at. So thank you so much, Kristine Scott.
No, thank you so much. And again, thank you, Bill. I've known Bill for a long time, so I really appreciate him connecting me with your association. We have similar jobs, so I really appreciate Bill always looking out for me, but also giving me an opportunity to talk to you today. So cheers and thank you.
And what are you drinking, Kristine?
Well, I have a really cool story real quick. I am drinking a rosé by a new winery called Tenerol Cellars that's based up in Sacramento. And what's cool about them is they're a woman-owned a winery that are supporting women and are really involved. So every time you buy a bottle, you help support women leadership. So I just discovered them at a women's conference this year, and they sent us all some wine. So it's actually pretty tasty, but it's kind of cool too. It's all women owned, so that's what I'm drinking.
Very cool, very cool. Well, hey, let me tell you a little bit about Kristine. And you know, I envy people like you because how you juggle so much in your life is beyond me. But Kristine Scott is a councilwoman with the city of Rancho, Cucamonga, and we are pleased to have you here with us today. Thank you so much for joining Kim and Kris and our team here, our family here, Citrus Valley Association of Realtors. We thank you so much for that. I want to tell everybody on the call just a little bit about what you do, and I'm always blown away by everyone or your abilities to juggle your personal life and your work life. But Kristine is the Senior Public Affairs Manager for Southern California Gas Company, SoCal Gas, and where you support field operations by working with regional and local governments on permitting, franchises, preparedness, and emergency response. I'm going to tell you, she has accomplished quite a bit in her career. You're a graduate of Cal State Fullerton. Mm-hmm. You have a Bachelor's of Arts degree in public communications, is that correct?
Communications, public relations, yeah.
Public relations. And you know what? I've got to hand it to you because I graduated from college with an engineering degree and I'm still in real estate. So you graduated with a public relations degree and you're in public relations. Congratulations to you. You're one of the few.
Thank you. I've wanted to be a PR person since I was 13 years old. So it's pretty cool when that happens. But I just sidetracked a little bit.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, you have obviously accomplished a lot because you actually you're actually the past chair of the Inland Action Committee. You're vice chair of the Greater Ontario Business Council, past president of the Ontario Montclair Schools Foundation, Promise Scholars, and the secretary for the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Redlands and Riverside. Oh my goodness.
That's awesome.
Also a member of the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Information Exchange Committee and serves on the Mojave Desert Air Quality Management District Technical Advisory Committee. Unbelievable. How do you do it?
Congratulations.
What do you do? I mean, it's amazing.
Oh, thank you. You know what? I'm really fortunate because I work for a company that really encourages us to give back to the community. So if it wasn't for working with SoCal Gas, giving me the time to be able to participate in these board meetings, I don't know what I would do. So I've been very fortunate in that. So it's been great. And, you know, giving back is what I like to do. So it's rewarding to be able to do that in the different communities I serve. So it's been great.
I want to share a little bit because Kristine, not only with all this that she shares with others and to give back to the community, obviously, in 2012, Kristine received a Woman of Distinction Award from the 63rd Assembly District, which honors women for their contributions to their job award from the California Building Industry Association, the CVIA, and was selected as Associate of the Year from the Building Industry Association, Baldy View chapter in 2013. My gosh, I mean, it's never ending, Kristine.
It's fun. It's fun. It's fun to be rewarded or recognized for your work, something that, you know, when you do this kind of job, you don't really expect the accolades. That's not what you do it for. So it was really rewarding, especially last year, to be selected as James Ramos's Woman of the Year for the 40th District. That was a huge honor I was not expecting. I still don't believe I accomplished that much to get that award, but it's nice to be recognized from time to time.
Well, hey, congratulations to you on that. Now, amongst all of the work and the donation of your time and efforts and everything else, you're running a city.
Yes.
Well, yes, I am, but I'm not alone. There's a great team that you know, it's been such a great city. I don't want to say it runs itself, but luckily we've had great leadership before me that's done such a good job planning and preparing us for the future that we really have a great city to be part of. So I'm happy to be part of it. Can you hear me or not?
We can hear you, definitely. Now, you were voted in as councilwoman in 2018, correct?
Yes, I won in 2018. I was sworn in that December of 19. So I'm considering now this is my second year on the council. My term expires in 2022. And it's the first time that, you know, in 2018, our city went into districts. So for some of you who live in Rancho, I know there's a lot of you out there, you may not know who I am. You may have never seen me or didn't know I was on the city council, only because we're not at large anymore. Unfortunately, we're in districts. So I cover the southwest side, east, southwest. I have an interesting district. Take a look on our website, but I'm considered District 2. So for those of you who lived in Rancho, may have known Diane Williams, who decided at the time to not run again. She is on our planning commission though. And at that time, so it would have been her region or her district. So this November, we're converting the rest of the city into districts. So you'll see signs. We have 2 elections for District 1 and District 4.
Excellent. Now that mandate, I believe that is that a statewide mandate as far as going into districts for cities? How does that work?
I'm not the expert, but it's not a statewide mandate. You know, it basically started off with an attorney sending the letters to different cities saying that they need more representation of the community on council. So some, you know, it worked for some cities, it doesn't. I'm not a fan of districts. It is what it is. Some cities have tried to fight going into districts, but it's costly. And at the end of the day, it costs too much. And it's probably a lot cheaper for taxpayers to not fight it and just go into districts. But there are some cities that are fighting. Not every city has received the letter, but Rancho received the letter a few years ago and it was voted in and people said, let's go districts. So it's interesting with districts because I am elected by the people that live in my district, but I serve the entire community. So we try not to, we're Team Rancho. That's how we like to look at ourselves. So we have that mentality and that motto. And although we are in districts, we're one team.
That makes it nice. I think that makes it really nice. I lived in Riverside and we had districts, but it was very nice because it didn't really matter. Everybody got together and worked together. And I think that's what's most important. It's nice to hear that it's going to continue that way.
It has to, because you have other cities, I won't name which, but you have another larger city in this county that people only care about their districts and it doesn't work. And we don't want to be like that. So we're one team.
That's nice to hear.
And there's something I'd like to share too. And this is, I think this really is kudos to your team. And it's awesome that you're saying team. Rancho Cucamonga was voted top city in the state of California to live in, and if not the nation, correct?
Well, as some of you have heard, the city was recently named an all-America city. In fact, our biggest thing right now is deciding where we're going to put these up. We have these signs throughout our city, and it's a big deal. So we were recognized by the National Civic League, recognizing our city's work in inclusive civic engagement to address the health and well-being, create stronger connections among residents, businesses, nonprofit, and government leaders. So it really was a competitive award to receive. cities throughout the country applied for it, submitted work about their community-wide work on enhancing health and the well-being through inclusive civic engagement, and were to put in some projects for consideration. And after all that, it was narrowed down to 22 cities throughout the nation. From my understanding, we were the only city on the West Coast to be a finalist. So forgive me, my days are all combining together, but I want to say it was in August. The communities made presentations virtually. We were supposed to do it in Denver, Colorado, but with the COVID, we didn't. So we virtually presented to a jury of about 11 national thought leaders, showing how our community leverages civic engagement, collaboration, inclusiveness, innovation to successfully address local issues. So we highlighted Healthier C, and if you live in Rancho, hopefully you're aware of this program, but it's a comprehensive system of interconnected planning, program, policy, partnership efforts that work across different sectors to promote community health and equity. So it was a really all hands, involved the community, involved businesses, the chamber got involved, but Healthier C led to several programs uplifting its community by breaking stigmas around mental health, taking control of local land, bringing in people and residents for the Etiwanda Heights neighborhood conservation plan. We really did a great outreach effort, doing pop-ups, getting the community involved in that, and converting unused spaces into parks, such as the one on the south side, Los Amigos Parks, really taking that area and creating a nice park. So we were recognized. The award is just the tip of the iceberg. All of the city council residents and staff who labored from 1978 to 2019 really did the hard work that earned it, but it's important because it sets a high bar. And we as a city have an obligation to meet the bar in how we deal with current budget problems, the new general plan, the economic development, and where we go as we come out of these odd times. So it is a great honor to receive an All-America City Award. Not everyone gets one. Some cities have tried so many times to get it and still haven't received one. I want to say this is our first time applying and we received it. The last city to get the All-America Award in this area was the city of San Bernardino, and that was back in 1977, the year our city was established. So it really is a huge honor. And right now what we're doing is we're working to place these in the area. Hopefully you can see it, but yes. It's gonna have a Rancho Cucamonga All-America. We get to proudly display this. And so now we've looked for it on outreach through social media channels, but we're asking our community, since they've been involved in the beginning, where should we post these? Where can they go? Where should we post these signs? That way everyone can see. So we're kind of wanting to hear from the community, where can we put these? Because we love to put one on every street sign, every street corner, but we can't. There's only so many that can be placed throughout the city. So we want to hear from our residents, where should we place these so everyone can see?
That's fantastic. Hey, I have to ask, not only are you working, we're all, of course, all communities are working through COVID and the aspects of COVID, but what I have to applaud the city for, which I was not aware of, is you're working on a balanced budget. And that is not something to take lightly in today's world. Can you maybe
even
share
pre-COVID, that's not really
even pre-COVID, even pre-COVID. I mean, with the lack of taxes, with the lack of everything else that's going on, how is Rancho able to work on a balanced budget?
How do you do that?
What are you guys doing?
Well, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's been tough because of COVID, obviously, with the lack of sales tax, especially for Victoria Gardens. Losing at the beginning, all that sales tax hurt. But you know what I have to applaud, and I can't take the credit for it. Again, as I mentioned earlier, having future leaders that served on this council that have always had the mentality of being conservative, and by living within our means. We really have lived within our means since we've been incorporated. We have maintained a balanced budget and healthy reserves. Rancho Cucamonga was financially prepared to withstand the financial impact of the pandemic without making cuts to essential services. So with the COVID-19, the city is facing lost revenue that has impacted our summer programs, including our youth sports. Unfortunately, we had to cancel the Lewis Playhouse entertainment, as well as numerous events at numerous facilities. So unfortunately, that led to us having to lay off close to about 10 full-time employees and part-time employees that helped us maintain the balanced budget for the year. And again, we're going to be going back to budget, just making sure we're still maintaining. But it is hard. We're not filling in some vacancies right now. But again, by us living within our means and being conservative, that's helped us to get us through this pandemic.
Excellent, excellent. And I think, I applaud that. And it is a difficult thing in this day and age when we're all struggling. I mean, every community is struggling right now, but to see that balance is really phenomenal. And that goes quite successfully to your team. Kim.
No, I'm just assuming that you probably have made quite a few changes, as we all have, as far as how we are doing our jobs. Or how are you as a team? Are you with the things that come up during COVID, which I'd love to know if anything you've made a lot of headway on that's really helping. We're focused on homeowners right now, and we've got a lot of concerns with people not being able to pay their rent, landlords not being able to pay their mortgages. And so we're always looking to find out what each city is doing individually to help these homeowners in situations. Is there anything special you're doing during this COVID crisis? And are you managing it through Zoom? What can we share with our realtors?
Sure. Oh, thanks for asking. I have a lot that to share with. As we all know, the most important issue facing at least, our city, just like every other city, is the COVID pandemic, and ensuring our city, including our businesses, residents, have a strong, healthy, and speedy recovery from the pandemic. Like I said, fortunately, Rancho has been proactive in positioning the city for a strong and expedient recovery from the pandemic. City Hall never closed, which allowed businesses and residents to receive support, updated information, and essential services. So we're really proud of that. Our council meetings, we've been meeting in person, although we don't allow members of the public to come in for safety precautions because of the pandemic. We've been taking comments through the phone, which it seems to work. So we're still meeting. One of the things I'm really proud of, because it's a passion of mine, is our library. We were one of the few libraries, if not the only library, throughout this pandemic from day one that remained open for curbside pickup. That has benefited all residents. I know myself, along with some other council members, we volunteered at the library for filling orders. So people that were picking them up, we were the ones putting it together because we were trying to make sure that our residents had the essential services they need. The city has been working with our state and federal agencies, gaining support that has enabled us to give local businesses support to help them with their leases or rental agreements. We've also allowed restaurants to open patio areas for outdoor dining without any fees or red tape. I think that was important to us, and we started that right away. I think from day one, we've had on our website, basically shows the restaurant or the business, this is what you need to do this and we'll help you. Some of you may or may not have read in yesterday's daily bulletin, and I think it was on the news too, that the city has a new program allowing landlocked businesses and places of worship without access to outdoor areas to use city parks and parking lots for a minimal fee. A permit must be obtained showing that the business or place of worship is following all state, county, and CDC public health guidelines, and demonstrates an ability to do so while operating outdoors. But businesses can apply through our website or community services department for that. So again, we're trying to help our businesses and residents, but also thinking out of the box because, we really want to make sure that we can survive this pandemic. As an important note, we have not cut our, services like police and fire, our medical responses. We have partnered with our Chamber of Commerce to assist businesses in advertising and staying open for business. We utilize the CARES Act, the coronavirus aid relief. We started a RC CARES Act, but we're doing everything we can in terms of offering funds for rent forgiveness and assistance for business and residents, making sure that seniors in need who have meals, working with the Family Service Association, making sure every Wednesday that they have meals to be picked up. And if they can't pick them up, that they're able to get them delivered to their home. So we've been just like everyone else, I'm sure, doing what we can to help our businesses and residents at this time. But I'm really proud that our staff and team have gone, out of our way to do what we can to make sure businesses can run as, I don't want to say as normal, but as normal as what allows us to do right now.
It sounds like you've been very proactive. I mean, really, to be able to minimal damage. You know, it's a wonderful thing.
Kristine, can I ask a little bit about, and I think you mentioned it, RC Cares. Can you share a little bit about that? Maybe expand on that a little bit?
Sure. Well, RC Cares is a program, you know, we got some money from the county and the state, and we put this in the RC Cares program that helped, it's helping businesses, you know, some businesses that need to buy plexiglass or safety products and may not have the money. It allows them to apply to get money funding for that. It allows for some rent relief for both commercial and residential folks. So it was that, unfortunately, the application process is already closed. It was open for a short time. They applied through a grant, you know, had to make sure everything was in order and that they were impacted by the COVID. We had staff around the clock working to answer calls, to answer emails. I mean, it was so amazing to see how many staff people were dedicated to this process, because we know people are going to get frustrated and probably are frustrated, and we didn't want to make them any more frustrated by maybe not being able to get through or having issues with the application. So I really wanted to make sure that we could help them as best we can. Unfortunately, like everything else, the funding was limited, and it's only going to be allowed for so many folks. And if we can get more funding, then we'll you know, obviously use that for more grants. But again, right now the process is we're just going through those applications for those that qualified and making sure they get what they need. And hopefully, if there's more relief, we can put that or apply it towards that CARES Act. But more information on that, it could be a business tool and a resident resource. If you go on our website, it's the first thing you see. Just click on that. And there's a lot of county links, state link, federal links, a lot of resources on that page.
Excellent. Now, I have to ask, were you able to, for those people that did apply, were you able to help all of the individuals? Did the money run out? I know there was a limited time frame, but were you able to spend that money?
I don't think there's going to be an issue of spending the money. Unfortunately, I think there's going to be an issue of there's so many applications and not enough money to go around, such as everything else. So again, there was no certain process as why one person got something over the other. It was made very clear, you know, people applied or businesses applied and they call you for help. We had no control of who got it. It was more of like, I don't want to say a lottery, but it sort of, you know, just pulled out that way. Unfortunately, it wasn't, you know, one needed it more than the other. It was just the way it worked out.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I know you're going through planning right now. Are you doing forgive me, I just drew a blank, the city planning, your overall plan for the community?
Yes, it's general plan update.
Yes, exactly. What's that process, and when will, I know it's like an ongoing process. Can you maybe share or expand on that a little bit for us?
Sure, I'll do my best. So every 10 years, the city's general plan is updated, and that, you know, talks about zoning and where we build and what happens in those developments. So our priority as a council for this year, actually started last year, was to include the city's general plan update and developing an economic development plan that will increase revenue without increasing taxes. So the process for updating the general plan is currently underway, and we are actively seeking input from stakeholder groups in the community to help make sound decisions for the city now into the future. So given COVID, we're not able to go out and do our pop-up community outreach meetings. So what we've been doing, just like everyone else, is having Zoom meetings. We've had a great response and great participation from residents. And I mean, I love the idea that, you know, people who are concerned or want to see certain things in their community, now's the time to tell us, instead of waiting till it's too late and we develop something, you may not like it. I mean, really get involved, especially as realtors. If you hear things that people wish our city had or wish less of, this is the opportunity to do it. So look at our website, look at our social media channels, because we're constantly, and if you want to follow me, I'm constantly informing people to get involved in the process, because if you don't get involved in the process, and something happens, I feel like you can't complain if you don't want to get involved. And we're really encouraging people to get involved, because we want to make this a rancho that everyone is still proud to call home, you know, 10, 20 years down the road. So we're excited about it, and we're looking forward to seeing what happens, but it's going to take a while. So what happens is we get all the community inputs, and it ranges about economic development, what you want to see. It talks about environmental impacts, what you don't want to see. So it ranges from a lot of different issues. So it's a process. It's engaging the community. I don't know how many meetings we have planned, but it's several, but we're talking like a couple-year process. Hopefully the plan is to hopefully have something finalized in the next year and a half. But you know, given the timeline, that could be flexible. But right now is the time to get engaged. We just started the process this year with the meeting, so look out because there's more to come.
Excellent.
I have a question. So in all of this, what are your priorities? Is there anything special that you really have your mindset on that you want to get accomplished?
You know, that's such a hard question because every time you think you want to do something, you get things like a pandemic that you never thought you'd be dealing with. I mean, some of the things that I'm dealing with right now as a council person, I never thought I'd have to deal with. I mean, I never thought I'd have to, you know, let go of 10 people. It's just things you just don't think about. It keeps you up at night. But, you know, I guess I have similar goals that we all do. We have a great council. I hope our team can stay in place, but the things I want to do is, you know, keep this a world-class community. I want to hopefully still maintain a balanced budget with a healthy reserve fund. That's number one. I want to ensure that it's our safest community in California. And I want to ensure economic prosperity with helping develop strong businesses and a really strong economic development plan. I know it sounds kind of cheesy and kind of vague on those, but I think really with those issues, I think everyone's had that vision that served on this council, and that's been our goal. And I think it's one of the greatest places, I think, if not the jewel of the Inland Empire. And I think that's why we got an All-America Award. So those are things that I want to make sure we focus on. And obviously, you know, again, we're in districts. I think of all the districts, my district might have the more, probably most opportunity for some growth. You may have heard or may have not heard, there's a lot of activity going on when it comes to transportation.
Yes.
Not too long ago, in my district where the Metrolink is, there is talk of a boring company, the Elon Musk company, wanting to build a tunnel from Rancho Cucamonga to transport passengers underground to and from the Ontario International Airport, which is a pretty cool idea. That would be located at Metro Station there. I see some people already saying, no, it's not. I don't have a say so over that. It's not come to me. It's just an idea right now. There's nothing set in stone. And then the other thing that I think has made news in the last week or two, maybe a little bit longer, is the idea of a private company called Express West wanting to build a high-speed train from Apple Valley to Vegas, but put a 50-mile spur through the Cajon Pass into Rancho Cucamonga. And that is gaining some traction. It is privately developed. I think they're looking at something as costing about $5 billion to build. Again, it's privately developed, but I think they're wanting to build, or the plans, preliminary plans, things can change from time to time, but the idea is to have something travel along the median with the 15 freeway, and when reaching Foothill Boulevard, kind of jog west to connect with the Metrolink station located at Milliken. The reason why that's garnering so much attention is, well, first of all, if you had the tunnel, if you had the high-speed train and Metrolink, we would be the first city in the nation to have 3 different sources of transportation in one spot. The one thing that it's gaining traction that people in LA, the electeds and that like from there and business folks, is that it gives a connection now from LA to the Ontario airport, and now from using LA to Rancho to go to Vegas. So you're saving cars off the road. I don't know if you've driven the 15 when people go to Vegas on Sundays, coming back, it's horrible. So you're looking at reducing greenhouse gas emissions, and that could spur other economic development interests in our city. I mean, now you have all these transportation modes. You can attract, I think, more high quality jobs in this region because you've got the modes of transportation, and it might spur some more housing opportunities in that area. Again, it's all preliminary. I haven't seen anything. That's just hearsay. It still has to go through approval, still has to go through environmental impacts, it still has to have budgeting. So it's still a ways away, but I don't have much information other than what I provided. But it's exciting to know that Rancho Cucamonga could be on the map for having different kinds of transportation modes to get us from here and there out of state.
You brought up something that I think, I'm going to kind of bring it back to who we are. We're Citrus Valley Association of Realtors. So what we're curious about, of course, is housing and what's happening in the housing arena for Rancho Cucamonga. I know Rancho Cucamonga went through a boom of housing, well, in the last 2 decades, really. And I'm curious, with this general plan coming up, are we going to see more opportunity for additional housing, multifamily units, you know, as Kim says, stacked housing? What is the opportunity that lies ahead for Rancho Cucamonga and housing and the need of housing?
Well, I get yelled at all the time because I get people saying, I want to move to Rancho, but I can't afford it. And my kids can't afford it. And it's a great community. I can't say exactly what kind of development that this general plan could spark. I see, it could be different ranges of housing. I think people want a variety. They don't want a certain kind of housing mold to look in. There's some people that prefer condos over, a big house, a big lot. I think what you're seeing over by the Metrolink and the resort is a new kind of housing that's been happening, because you've got people, millennials, that want to move to Rancho. That's kind of a starter home for them, and you've got people downsizing to those kind of developments. I know I get a lot of stack and pack, we don't want to become Pasadena kind of things. It could be a range of development. I think that's what's important about the general plan, again, is hearing from the residents and what they want to see. You have to remember, Rancho Cucamonga, we're 85% built out. We don't have much land to develop off of. So if we're going to develop, there's not a lot of land to. So you might, I'm not saying you are, I'm just saying, but we have to be creative in what we're going to develop, because again, we're almost built out. And I think with the parcels we do have left, we're going to be a little bit stingy about them and making sure they're a high quality development. And that makes our city a world-class, community, and we want to keep it that way. So, I know some big parcels of land is on 4th and Haven, that corner lot. I think that's our, last key piece left. And you see some development that is happening in the Etowanda Heights neighborhood conservation plan that, was being annexed on that side over there, up in the hills there. People wanted rural development, and that's what they're going to get. But there's also different kinds of housing that's being proposed, no apartments, because that was heard loud and clear. But you know what? You hear all the time that people love living in Rancho, that they want their kids and their grandkids to be able to live around the corner. And so I think, developers are trying to build that kind of product, but at the same time, you guys are the realtors, you're the expert, the demand. And right now, I heard you say earlier, people are buying, but there's no product to buy. So there's definitely going to be some opportunities for future housing. What that looks like, where it goes, is still unknown, but I think that's why we need input for the general plan, so we can hear from residents what they want to see and where they want to see it. And I think it's important, again, especially for realtors, if you live in Rancho, get involved, give us your feedback. We want to hear from our community, from our residents.
How long is the general plan open? I mean, is there a close date on that where you kind of stop taking discussion and then move forward?
Eventually there will be, but we're not there yet. So now's the time. If you haven't been involved in the community hearings, there's more coming up. Or take a look. We have a general plan site location on our website, and there's opportunity to always put your feedback in, taking a look at what we have discussed, and then putting your feedback in either through emails or a letter. There's still opportunity for feedback. So I highly encourage it.
I do too. Realtors on the call. We have a lot of realtors in Rancho.
I think we have over 1,100, I believe,
so
realtors
get
that live in Rancho.
Get involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is your opportunity to have an impact. Now, listen, with the general plans typically we don't see immediate resolution or immediate impact, but what they do is they impact a decade out, maybe 2 decades out, but it's still an opportunity. There's been some beautiful buildings placed on Foothill Boulevard in Rancho Cucamonga as of late, and many of them are multifamily units, and they're beautiful. I mean, they're absolutely stunning.
Live, I think.
They're work live. I mean, they're beautiful, beautiful facilities that are there, and kudos.
Changed the whole landscape. It's beautiful.
Exactly. So your input today will impact, maybe not in the near future, but in the next decade or so. And have opportunity to expand on the maybe 10, 15% of build out land that's available now. So
are we accurate on that, Kristine? We're guessing. We're not counting.
Well, it's updated every 10 years, but we're looking like 20 years, I mean, down the road, because it does take time to get things developed. And I think one of the bigger issues, and you see this, as you all the time in other cities, is where, you may have someone proposing townhomes or condos or apartments on one parcel of land, and it's not zoned for that, and they can change the zoning, which, some cities are allowed to do that. But part of the general plan update is looking at the zones and looking at where it can go where, and is that appropriate to have that right there. So really, again, people, are busy, obviously, trying to keep food on the table or a roof over their head and may not want to get engaged. But I think because of the opportunities to get involved via Zoom meetings or even through, looking at the website, it's something that just take a second to look at and get, give input. It's important, especially, we're becoming more of a diverse community. We want to make sure that, you don't get all the building in one little area and it's spread out. And, when you talk about affordability and housing, the Southern California Association of Governments is coming out with, more affordable housing that is being mandated in every city. You have to have so much affordable housing. What does that look like? Where is it going to go? And you have cities pushing back, and Bill knows this as better. It's like, some cities don't want it. Some cities like, oh no, we don't want affordable housing here. It should go over in that community or in that city. And that city is like, why should we get all these kinds of low income housing? So again, I don't even know what low income housing costs anymore, because they were proposing a development in another city and it started at $500,000. And the last time I checked, $500,000 was not considered low income. So, I mean, that's going to be another fight, another battle, because we are going to be mandated to have to build and put in some affordable housing, and people are not going to like that. But if you look along Route 66 of Foothill Boulevard, you would not believe some of the developments that you drive by every day that are considered low income housing, that are beautiful and have great programs in them and are award winning, because we do have high standards, high development standards in our cities, thanks to our planning commission members of the past and present. And we're a great city for a reason. We're all American city for a reason, because we do have high standards, and that's going to continue no matter what.
Excellent.
Sounds like because you work together. I mean,
Yeah.
really, your team. Now, how many districts are there going to be, or have they already decided in Rancho?
Yeah, if you go on our website, you can look at the districts. So, like I said, come in a couple 3 weeks. You'll have. I mean, we do have District 1 through 4, and then the mayor's at large. The mayor will always be at large. Everyone will get to vote for the mayor. And then you have Districts 1 through 4, and I'm District 2. So take a look at the website to see, and those are going to change in the future, because obviously we're going to get more growth. And looking at the census, which hopefully everyone did, it closes tomorrow or today. That's going to dictate where the growth in numbers are. So it may have to switch a little bit, but I think the way they did it, I was not part of the process. Was even. So like I said, my district's a little interesting. I kind of crossed the borders of Upland and Ontario. I think I'm going to be biased. I have the best district. I've got City Hall, I've got Costco, I've got the Quake Stadium, I got the Archibald Library, I've got City, I've got some great places. So I'm excited about that. I think we all have we have a great city. Everyone has some great stuff in their districts. Mine's just the best. I'm kidding.
Hey, we have to ask a great question from Bruce Engels. And Bruce is asking, how do you think Victoria Gardens will do amongst this pandemic that we're having right now? How will it be impacted?
Well, it's already been impacted. That's a great question. Unfortunately, when the pandemic happened, in sales tax alone, we were losing probably about $1 million from there. So it took a big hit. Cities have downtowns. We don't really have a downtown. We look at Victoria Gardens as our downtown. So as some of you may be aware, there was new ownership that took over that mall probably about a year ago. And so I think just changing with the times, they've been having to adjust. I think if you've eaten over there lately, you saw that they were able to close their streets, their private streets, to host the restaurants, which has been pretty cool. And I think they're going to continue that. We don't have a say so whatever they're doing, but we do have some land around there. So I think just like you see, retailers all over the place, how everyone's going online shopping, I think that's going to have an impact in the future. I think it's been smart where you can buy it online and go pick it up from the stores. I think that's going to continue. But I think, when you see some of the housing near the mall there where it is, I think there's a parking structure coming eventually. They're going to have to change with the times and see, you know, who goes online only and who closes shop. But I think management's done a good job working with the businesses and trying to adjust with the times. I don't have a crystal ball to protect how it's gonna, you know, what the mall will look like a year from now. I mean, we don't know how long this pandemic's gonna happen, but I don't know about you guys, but I go down there about once a week, and you would never know there's a pandemic. Yes, everyone's wearing their masks, but people are shopping and there's bags, and I'm having to wait in line to get into a store because they only allow so many people. I was a little nervous to see what the mall would look like, but when I saw people eating and shopping and everyone had bags in their hands, I felt a little bit more secure with the direction. So I know, Bruce, I didn't answer your question what I see it as, but I think with the management the way it is, I think, you know, adjusting with the times, it's something they're going to be reviewing, and who knows what's going to look like in 5 years from now, because again, with the online shopping, that really has changed a lot of things. As you saw, we're not losing JCPenney's or anything at our mall, but you see other cities have lost the big anchors, and now they're looking, and Bill knows this better, what they're doing in the future of Montclair. I'm not saying that's what Victoria Gardens is going to look at, but that's something that's in the back of our minds. And luckily we have great staff that's already thinking ahead of times of what would happen if this goes out, or what can we do with this. And again, it goes back to the general plan and how it looks and what can we do.
Perfect.
So
go ahead.
Okay. Oh, I know you don't have a crystal ball, and this is a very vague kind of question, but Rancho Cucamonga as a whole, coming out of COVID, do you have a plan, and how do you see yourself on the other side? And I guess, you know, I hope we're more than halfway through. So where are you? I mean, I know where you've been. You've done great. Where do you see yourself coming out? I mean, as a city, I know a lot of things are going to change, and I think shopping in general is going to change and probably stay with this post-COVID. But as a city, how do you see Rancho coming out? In a good positives.
I want to know. I see what we've done, and I mentioned this already. What we've been doing and what we've done as a city, I think it's positioning us to have a strong and expedient recovery from this pandemic. I really do. I mean, I do public affairs for a living, a career. So I work with elected officials. I work with city halls. And I am just, sometimes I leave cities, I won't name them, but my eyes are just so big because one, there's no one there to answer the door. They've shut down completely. You have to call them. They don't have the vision. They're not looking ahead. They're only looking what's in front of them. And to be honest, they're not in a financial position that we have set up ourselves to be. So I'm very fortunate to be part of a team and be part of a city that, again, we've been living within our means, and we've been proactive in making sure our businesses get the service and the help they need. That way, when we can go to a restaurant without sitting outside only, or we can open the doors to more people, that we're ready for it. And there's a plan in place. So I see us being a strong recovery. It's going to take some time. I think it's going to be strong. And I think one of the things that has helped us be strong too is, you know, they did the numbers, and as all of us know that live in Rancho, it is a high quality development, a high quality city. You've got a lot of higher education people that live here, that when a lot of folks were being laid off and not working, they were looking at the numbers. And for the most part, a lot of the majority of people in Rancho were not impacted as severely as other cities, because they were able to work from home and still had these high quality jobs. They just didn't have to commute. So that helps with them being able to give back and going to restaurants and you know, buying things from our community. So we've been really fortunate that we've been able to be a good, strong city in that way. Unlike other cities where they're really, you know, people are out of work. And I'm not saying people aren't out of work in the city. There's a lot that are impacted, and it's unfortunate. But for the most part, we've had heard from people that are still working, have always worked, and it financially really hasn't been too much of a burden, but it is a burden.
I have to ask on the aspects of since we're in coronavirus and we're dealing with what we're dealing with, your first responders, your police and your fire department, how have they been impacted for the city of Rancho Cucamonga? Are you working with them? How do you work with them? Where do you see let's say the police ending up out of this? Is this an issue? Has it been an issue for them? I'd love some feedback on it. I'm really curious.
Well, I'm not going to guess to know everything going up, but we have a great partnership with our fire and with our police. As most of you know, we don't have our own police. We contract with the county sheriff's department, and we get high quality, top notch service from them. I mean, we're one of the safest communities in California. I really can't complain. They're going through their testing. They're going through their COVID compliances, doing everything they can do to be safe, to serve. So they're taking precautions. It was a little quiet because more people at the beginning were staying home and not getting into trouble. But we've had, through this time, a little people are getting restless and getting out a little bit more. But they've been on top of it. So service hasn't, like I said, we haven't cut essential services at all. They're out there, they're monitoring, they're working with people. We have a great hope program. So if they do see people who, we've had a couple that have lost homes or whatever, they, work with them and get them in the hope program because these people want help. So they're continuing to monitor and protect our cities. They've done an excellent job. Same with our fire. We do have our own fire department. Again, they're taking all precautions safety-wise that they've had to do. Unfortunately, during this pandemic, there's been another crisis, and that's been the wildfires. So we have a mutual aid agreement with other cities. So that's kept them busy. But we're so fortunate that even though they're on other fires in different cities, we still have full staff here be able to provide services to our own city if they need it. And so really strong there. And we're here to support them and do what they need to do. But again, they're doing what they can to keep our city safe. And they've done a great job. And we haven't had any lapse or anything due to the pandemic.
Hey, Kim just asked a question. She goes, how large is the city? So I guess I got to ask, population-wise, what are you responsible for?
As a city, we're about 177,000.
Right.
So we do have a large, we're not Fontana. Fontana is over 200,000 plus, same with San Marino. We're not a small city, but we're quite a large city, especially when you have the hillsides and the mountains there. So our fire and police, we have 7 stations throughout in terms of fire throughout the city that provides services. And in fact, we're excited because if you've driven by it, and every day I walk by it, and I can't believe how fast it's coming along. But hopefully any day now, we're going to be cutting the ribbon to the doors to our first joint police. It's of all public safety building. So it's right here on Vineyard, right where the Albertsons is, and it's going to be a police and fire. So yes, they work together. They like each other. They're going to be sharing services. So again, there'll be more services for the west end of town. But we're really excited about that because they'll be sharing the resources there. So we're always looking out for our public safety because keeping a safe community again is one of our top priorities, if not the most top priority.
Absolutely. Curious on now you're handling District 2, and that district covers the southwest area region of Rancho. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. So the southwest region is probably one of the most diverse areas of all of Rancho. And the only reason I know is because I've lived here for 52 years and I'm familiar with it. And how do you see your district is probably the example for the rest of the districts on working together. What you can achieve, what you can do. Where do you see your district going in the future as far as its diversification, its ability to meet the needs of all of the individuals that live there? Where do you see that?
That's a good question. So my district, for those that aren't familiar, again, it stops or starts, I don't know how you look at it, at Grove, and it goes all the way west towards where the 15 freeway, where Costco is, and it kind of goes south to where borders up against Ontario, across the street from the mills. And I have a little part above Archibald and Baseline. It's a little weird up there, but I do have some up there. But for those that know their history, and all you guys can probably tell me the history, it's considered Cucamonga. I've got the Cucamonga section of town. So for those that don't know or do know Cucamonga, that includes the Northtown community, which is a very diverse community. and an older community. So when the city was not a city, you still have sections of the town that don't have sidewalks in some neighborhoods because, again, it was county development and it was not necessary. So you get people moving in there that want sidewalks and trying to deal with that. But it is very diverse. I love my district. So I've been fortunate enough to be, trying to be more proactive and work with that community, making sure they have a voice, making sure we're working together, because I didn't know all the great stuff that they do. I mean, they do a Cinco de Mayo event every year. That's really big. They do this big veterans event every year. And so making sure that they have a voice and that we're collaborating with the city, not them alone. And we want to work together. So we're kind of establishing a partnership, which I really enjoy, and meeting new people, but it's been great making sure that they're represented. There's a park over there, the Old Town Park, and they want to do baseball parks at night, so we have the lights on for them, but just making sure that they know they can come to the city and we want to work together. But I also have now, in addition to that section, a lot of the light industrials in my area, but pretty soon I'm going to have pretty much a lot more people when it comes to the resort. So making sure, get to knowing them and, bringing them into the mix too. Again, we don't want to look at districts and making it look like a whole, but it's been really great trying to bring, especially Northtown in, because I think they feel like, sometimes we don't see them as Rancho, but they are Cucamonga. So making sure that we collaborate, and I've really enjoyed working with them. So that's my goal, to keep doing that, not just with that area, but with all the residents in my district as well.
Excellent. Hey, Kristine, as we wrap up, I appreciate first and foremost you taking an hour of your day. You're a very busy schedule. Yeah, very busy schedule. And we truly appreciate you contributing to us here at Citrus Valley Association of Realtors. Can you share with us maybe any highlights, points of interest that you would like to focus on, maybe leave us with as we go about the balance of our Thursday on into
or
what's...
maybe as those of us listening who are on the call that are, of course, realtors, how can we help? How do we get involved? I mean, is there anything you'd like us to help with?
If you didn't get the message by now, general plan, get involved, get engaged, give input, because really, especially realtors, you guys, you see the town more than I see it probably with selling the homes. You probably seen streets that I don't get a chance to see. So it's very important to get involved and get engaged, not just with the general plan, but with the city as much as you can. There's great opportunities to get involved. Not too long ago, we had a couple of vacancies on the planning commission, and I thought the best people to serve on those would be, and I see one now on here, would be I see Francis, would be a planning commission opportunity. So, looking at that knowledge, but there's opportunities to get involved and get engaged. And I would highly suggest that, but it's a great community, and that's one of the things. I couldn't wait to move here. I wanted to be on the Community Library Foundation so bad. But they wouldn't let me because I didn't live here. So the day I moved here, I knocked on their door and I said, okay, I live here now, put me on that darn board. And they did, and I was lucky enough to serve as president for 5 years. So, I mean, get engaged, because you live here, you work here, it's a great community, and we just appreciate the input we have from your industry. And if there's anything that I could do to help you guys, or if there's anything that you need more information on or not sure about, or if you're angry about something that we're doing that's going to hurt your industry, I know Bill's not shy about calling me up about that or emailing me, but we're here to help. We want to work together, because we're in All America City for a certain reason, and that's because the whole community and everyone worked together, not just the city, but it was a community, and we want to make sure it stays that way.
Kristine, thank you so much for your time. We truly appreciate it. I know Kim and we were excited to get you on board and be able to have and spend this hour with you.
We learned a lot today. Thank you for sharing something.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, thank you. You were the best Zoom of the day, because I got to have my veto, and after 9 hours of hearing about candidates running for office. Thank you so much for ending my day on a good note. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hey, everybody on the call, thank you so much for spending time with Kim and Kris today. We're glad to have you here, and thank you so much for being on board. We're here at Citrus Valley Association of Realtors. I want to also thank Bill Rue with Citrus Valley for
always coming through and helping us get great people to talk to.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bill. Kudos to you, and kudos to our team
Yes.
Lori, Nancy, Mark,
Yes.
Mr. Mark Epstein, our CEO. Thank you all so much for having us and being a part of this organization. We're blessed to be here. I'm going to turn it over to Nancy and just want to say, hey, cheers to everybody. I actually ran out of wine while we were on the call. So
Oh.
So you know
Cheers.
he likes the wine.
there you go.
Cheers. And Kristine, tell us the name of that wine one more time. I love to support women in business.
All right, it's called Teneral, Teneral Cellar. It's up in Sacramento. They're brand new, like they just opened a couple of weeks ago.
Nice.
But it's all about women's empowerment and wine, and they have a really cool thing going on. So highly recommend you follow them on Instagram.
Yeah, I like that poison logo
It's
on
very
there.
cool.
Yeah, I decorated for Halloween, so I've got my poison. So
Thank you, Nancy.
Cheers.
Anything that we need before we sign off?
Just real quick, the suggestion was put in the chat from Bill that you put one of those All-American City stickers on our CVAR location.
Great.
I saw that, Bill. I wrote it down. I will let John Gilson know.
Good idea.
Just a suggestion.
But hey, no, in all seriousness, take a look at the website. That there was a post and that came out not too long ago, because that is something that we're looking at, and it's not official yet, but we're gonna have banners on different streetlights that say All America City that you can sponsor
Oh, very
really cheaply. So you could buy an All America banner. I think they're going to be like $500.
Line us up. Line us up.
Yeah, so they're doing the finalizing on that one of the program, but that's something that it's going to start, that they're looking at to have. So we love to have the support of the business community if you're interested.
Will do. Fantastic. That's awesome. Always love to support banners. Hey, thank you again. Nancy, I'll turn it over to you, and we'll
We're
stop
real
talking.
this time.
For real. Keeping it real. Well, thank you so much, Kristine. Bill, thank you for the connection. We really enjoyed the conversation today. And Kim and Kris, as always, thank you so much. Our next session of Keeping It Real is on November 12th, 4 o'clock. So we hope that you can join us then. More information on who our speaker is to come. One last time, thank you everybody for joining us today, and check out CVAR Connect for more exciting classes and discussions that we're having here at Citrus Valley Association of Realtors. Kristine, Kim, and Kris, thank you all so much, and I hope everyone has a great day.
Cheers.
Happy weekend.
Bye-bye.